Joining us on the broadcast is the IDF's Colonel Oliver. Colonel Oliver, thank you very much for speaking to Republic TV. Let me straight away begin by asking you, your government says that this is a new phase of the war that has begun. You believe that the focus should now be shifted from Gaza to Lebanon. Could you please elaborate?
First of all, I'm very honored to speak to media from India. It's the first time for me, so thank you very much to have me in your program. It's very important. I want just, if I may, a little bit to give you the general context. On the 7th of October, last year, we have been attacked by Hamas terrorist group who perpetrated a massacre in Israel. 1,200 people have been killed, women have been raped, and then we had to start the war against Hamas in the Gaza Strip. The next day, on the 8th of October, without any provocation, Hezbollah, Shiite terrorist army from Lebanon, supported by Iran, attacked directly Israel from Lebanon, throwing rockets, missiles, and until today we have been attacked day after day, and that produced actually the forced evacuation of more than 60,000 people in the northern part of Israel. Just to make it clear for you, we are a very small country, very, very small, very tiny country. And when the north is evacuated, when the south is attacked, we are almost losing everything. So we have to be very...
Colonel...
One moment, please. I know, 1 moment, please. During this year, we hoped that with political and diplomatic means, it could be possible to find a solution, an arrangement with Lebanon. But it was not successful, and at the end of the day, as a sovereign state, we have the right, the self-defense right, to attack and to rip off from our border this threat. That's why the last week and the last 2 days, we have actually launched a military campaign against Hezbollah.
Colonel Oliver, I want to ask you a specific question before I also bring in Mr. Alex Gandler of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Colonel Oliver, in terms of the specific targets that you're looking at right now, this skirmish was being going on for quite some time. Why now? Do you believe that your targets have been identified and these targets pose a grave threat to Israel at this point in time? I'm asking because of the timing of this entire war.
I understand, and any question is very good. So thank you for the question. What you are calling skirmish is actually what we call in English LIC, low-intensity conflict. But it is, as a matter of the fact, on the bottom line, it is a war, a real war, because the rockets are launched every day against Israeli people, civilian communities, farms, kibbutzim, moshavim, who are actually farming centers in Israel for many years, and people cannot live there. One moment, cannot live there. So after 1 year, I think, after 1 year, we gave time enough to Lebanon and to Hezbollah to think, do they want to continue to attack Israel and to pay the price of a reaction? Or they think that Israel is capable to suffer day after day attacks without reaction? No state in the world, I'm telling you, no state in the world can accept attacks day after day without reaction. It was the reason of this offensive, and I want just to define it. It is a real offensive, but it is an offensive in the context of self-defense.
Self-defense, I would like to elaborate. I would want you to elaborate a little bit on that. But before that, let me just get a quick word also from Alex Gandler. Mr. Gandler, your government has largely argued that this is a new phase of the war. Largely the kind of pressure that Israel has been facing, particularly from the West, that look here, you need to work towards a ceasefire. It seems that you've escalated this. The need of escalating at this, what was the rationale behind it? The thought behind taking the war to the next level?
Okay, shalom. Thank you for having me. As you can see, I'm here in Jerusalem. I think the term escalation from Israel is not the correct term. The escalation came from Hezbollah. During the last several weeks, we've seen an escalation from Hezbollah shooting rockets at northern Israeli cities and towns and villages. Hezbollah has perpetrated terrible acts against Israelis, killing 12 children just a few weeks ago. The decision to go out and attack in Lebanon, attack against Hezbollah, is in order to bring more than 60,000 Israelis back to their homes. 60,000 Israelis have been displaced from their homes for the last 11 months. This war did not begin this week or last week. It has begun on October 8th when Hezbollah struck Israel completely unprovoked right after Hamas, one of the other Iranian proxies, struck Israel. If you look at the whole situation by itself, it's not just Hamas or just Hezbollah or just the Houthis in Yemen or Kataib Hezbollah in Iraq. We're talking about an all-out war that is waged by Iran on Israel, encircling Israel with this ring of fire, attacking Israelis, civilians for almost a year now. We're getting close to the October 7th anniversary. You need to understand this is not new.
Okay.
The fact that we're speaking now is because Israel has decided to put a stop to this escalation by Hezbollah.
Colonel Oliver, if you had to elaborate on the threat that looms large over Israel at this point in time, could you elaborate what has really changed? How exactly has the Hezbollah been armed over the last few weeks?
Hezbollah, as a matter of fact, is the biggest terrorist army in the world. I want to be the biggest terrorist army in the world. Full equipped, armed, financed by Iran, like just said the diplomat from Jerusalem. And this group has weapons like a regular army. I even can tell you, because I know the figures, that Hezbollah has more missiles than most of the European armies, regular armies in Europe, except Germany, Britain, and France. But 200,000 missiles, long-range missiles, cruise missiles, and as a matter of fact, the intention of Hezbollah, like the intention of Hamas, because of Iran, is to destroy the state of Israel. So we are facing an existential threat, and the intention is there, the weapons are there, the political support from Iran is there. So we have two possibilities: to wait and to be attacked, or to initiate. After 1 year, I think that we have the right to initiate. But again, I don't want to be neither apologetic, neither a victim, because Israel is a small country, but a very strong nation. And I think that we are also one of the only democracies in this region. And as a matter of fact, we respect the international law, we respect democratic values, we respect ethics, but we also respect life and also the right to defend our women, our children, our elders. You know, I'm sometimes surprised by reading the press because they are talking about the other side, like we are not paying the price of victims, of dead, of wounded. You know, in this war has been imposed on Israel. And when you see the number of weapons in Lebanon, a state without government, without clear government. One moment, please, just 1 point. No, there are problems for medical assistance, but there are plenty of money for weapons, like the same issue in Yemen. And just 1 point, Iran, where Iran is, in Yemen, in Lebanon, in Iraq, in other places in the world, it's chaos, it's distortion, it's destabilization. And Israel has the right and will continue to fulfill this right of self-defense until when? Until the population of Israel is able to come back, to return to their homes fully in peace and in serenity. Without this achieved goal, we'll continue to strike Hezbollah. We are not in a war against Lebanon. Just 1 point, last point. We are not in a war against Lebanese people. Like we are not in a war against Palestinian people. We're in a war against Hezbollah in Lebanon and against Hamas in the Gaza Strip.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on the debate tonight and putting this into perspective as to why exactly Israel essentially believes that it is time to act, particularly from the threat emanating from the northern borders.